What started as a warm and friendly appearance quickly spiraled into one of the most talked about live television moments in recent memory. Julia Roberts, known for her charm, wit, and effortless ability to win over any crowd, was invited onto The View to promote her latest project. The atmosphere in the studio at first seemed relaxed, even lighthearted. The co-hosts engaged her with playful questions, the audience responded with laughter and applause, and it looked like a typical daytime TV interview with Hollywood royalty. But just beneath the smiles, a spark of tension began to build, and within minutes, it shifted the tone completely. The initial questions were casual, her career highlights, funny moments from filming, and her experiences balancing work with family. Julia, with her trademark laugh, handled them gracefully, even tossing in her own anecdotes that had the audience charmed. Joy Behar, who is no stranger to stirring things up with provocative remarks, decided to press further. She pivoted the conversation into a more opinionated space, raising issues about celebrity responsibility, activism, and how Hollywood stars use their platforms. Julia, who has always been careful with her words in public, responded thoughtfully but made it clear she wasn't there to engage in political or controversial debates. At first, the exchange seemed harmless, Joy tossing in her sharp one-liners, Julia countering with a firm but polite response. Yet, the tension between the two was palpable. Joy's style often thrives on pushing boundaries, sometimes even poking her guests to elicit strong reactions, and Julia wasn't in the mood to play along. The back-and-forth started gaining an edge, with the co-host pressing harder and Julia visibly growing more uncomfortable. Audience members, initially laughing, began to sense the shift. The studio energy transformed from amusement to unease, and suddenly, everyone was holding their breath. The breaking point came when Julia attempted to steer the conversation back toward her film, trying to bring the mood back to where it started. Joy interrupted with another pointed remark, this time striking a nerve. Julia, maintaining her composure but clearly frustrated, paused, gave a tight smile, and said something that left the audience stunned. "I didn't come here for this." What happened next was the moment that turned a routine TV spot into a viral sensation. Julia calmly stood up, thanked the other co-hosts, and walked off the stage as cameras continued rolling. The crowd gasped, the co-host scrambled, and Joy herself looked momentarily caught off guard. Live television thrives on unpredictability, but this was not the kind of surprise anyone had prepared for. The abrupt exit left the panel in an awkward scramble to move forward, but by then the damage was done. Social media immediately erupted. Clips of Julia leaving the set spread across platforms within minutes, drawing millions of views. Some applauded her for standing her ground and refusing to be cornered into a conversation she didn't want to have. Others criticized the move, suggesting that walking off was unprofessional. Either way, people were talking, and the clip became a must-watch moment. What makes the incident so fascinating is how quickly a situation can shift in the world of live TV. A seemingly harmless chat about movies and family transformed into an intense clash of personalities. Julia's decision to exit was not a shouting match or an angry outburst, it was quiet, firm, and deliberate. That made it even more powerful. Her silence spoke volumes, and viewers couldn't look away. The moment captured the unpredictability of live television and the fine line that exists when entertainment collides with personal boundaries. As discussions about the walk-off continue, it's clear why it resonates. Audiences are used to celebrities dodging tough questions with rehearsed answers, but Julia's refusal to play along broke that mold. It felt authentic, raw, and unscripted, qualities that instantly go viral in today's media environment. Joy Behar's reputation for stirring debate only added fuel, making the moment even more combustible. For Julia Roberts, it's unlikely to overshadow her career, but it does mark one of those unforgettable TV clashes that will be replayed, dissected, and debated for years to come. The unexpected turn during what was meant to be a lighthearted segment is a reminder of how quickly live TV can capture raw, unscripted drama. It's the kind of moment audiences can't stop watching, sharing, and talking about long after the cameras stop rolling. What began as a lively appearance on The View quickly transformed into an uncomfortable exchange that built layer upon layer of tension until it could no longer be contained. Julia Roberts arrived with her trademark grace, the audience buzzing with excitement at seeing one of Hollywood's most beloved stars in such an intimate setting. The first few minutes went as expected, light banter, warm laughter, and a casual back-and-forth with the panel. But slowly, the atmosphere shifted. It wasn't a single remark that caused it, but rather a series of small moments, interruptions, and pointed comments that escalated until the situation reached a breaking point. Julia, known for being composed and diplomatic in interviews, had no issue navigating tough questions in the past. Yet Joy Behar, never one to shy away from controversy, decided to push boundaries. She pressed Julia about her views on activism, the role of celebrities in politics, and whether stars like her were doing enough to address issues off-screen. Julia, trying to maintain the original spirit of the interview, politely deflected. She made it clear she wanted to focus on her film and avoid being drawn into polarizing debates. But Joy persisted, each question cutting a little deeper and carrying more bite than the last. What could have been a spirited exchange began to feel combative. Julia's body language shifted, her smile tightened, her posture grew more rigid, and her answers shortened. Audience members sensed it too. The laughter that usually fills the air on The View started to fade, replaced by a nervous silence. The tension wasn't just between Julia and Joy, it filled the entire studio. The co-hosts, often skilled at balancing heated discussions, looked uneasy as they tried to redirect, but the conversation kept circling back to the friction point. The more Joy pressed, the more Julia seemed determined not to play along. It became clear that what was once an interview had turned into a standoff of sorts. Julia wanted to keep things light and professional, while Joy was intent on provoking a deeper, perhaps even confrontational, response. The clash of intentions was obvious, and neither seemed willing to budge. The longer it went on, the more uncomfortable it became, not only for Julia but for everyone watching. Then came the moment that tipped the scales. As Julia attempted to bring the discussion back to her project, Joy cut her off with a remark that felt less like a question and more like a critique. Julia's expression froze, her usual warmth giving way to visible frustration. The tension that had been simmering beneath the surface finally boiled over. In a calm but firm voice, she addressed the room, making it clear she wasn't there for a sparring match. Without raising her voice or engaging in theatrics, she delivered a line that stunned the panel and the audience alike: "This isn't what I came here to do." The studio fell into silence. Julia's decision was swift. She rose from her chair, gave a courteous nod to the other hosts, and walked off the set. The cameras captured every second, the shock written across the faces of the co-hosts and the audience. There was no shouting, no dramatic confrontation, just a decisive exit that spoke louder than any heated exchange could. The aftermath in the studio was chaos disguised as composure. The co-host scrambled to carry on with the show, attempting to laugh it off while clearly shaken by what had just unfolded. Joy herself looked momentarily caught off guard, though she quickly tried to downplay the situation. But the moment was already out in the world, replayed and dissected in real time by millions. What makes Julia's walk-off so striking is the way the tension built slowly, almost imperceptibly, until it was too much to contain. It wasn't a single explosive comment that triggered her exit, it was the steady accumulation of discomfort, the refusal to disengage from a subject she clearly didn't want to tackle, and the relentless push that left her with no choice but to step away. The clash was a reminder of how fragile live interviews can be. One wrong turn, one line of questioning too far, and what was meant to be a promotional moment becomes a viral sensation. Julia's decision not to engage further and instead remove herself from the situation turned the spotlight away from the argument itself and onto the bigger issue, the boundaries celebrities set when facing media pressure. For viewers, the slow burn of growing tension followed by Julia's exit was captivating. It was a real-time unraveling of an interview that had started so smoothly, and that unpredictability made it impossible to look away. In just a few minutes, Julia transformed a routine daytime appearance into a defining viral moment, one that will be replayed, debated, and remembered as a textbook case of how unresolved tension can reach a dramatic breaking point. Live television has a way of capturing moments that no script could ever predict, and Julia Roberts' walk-off from The View is a perfect example of how real-time drama can unfold in front of millions of eyes. From the moment she sat down, the segment seemed like it would be another entertaining and harmless celebrity interview. Julia, with her signature smile and natural charisma, immediately drew the audience in. The conversation flowed with ease at first, stories about her film, light jokes about her family life, and playful banter with the co-hosts. Everything looked polished, professional, and set to deliver the kind of feel-good content daytime viewers expect. But within minutes, that sense of comfort was shattered, and what followed was an unscripted clash that played out live, unfiltered, and unforgettable. As the discussion shifted, Joy Behar's trademark bluntness began to push the boundaries of what Julia seemed comfortable addressing. Questions about Hollywood's role in politics, whether stars like Julia should use their influence for activism, and how much responsibility celebrities bear for shaping public opinion all began to creep into the exchange. Julia, measured and cautious, tried to steer away from controversy, but the push and pull between her and Joy began to change the tone. The friendly chatter took on an edge, and suddenly the energy in the studio shifted. The audience felt it immediately. Their laughter became more hesitant, their applause less frequent, as they sensed the tension rising. The other co-hosts, usually adept at managing heated exchanges, started to fumble, unsure whether to step in and redirect or let the moment breathe. Julia, sitting firmly in her chair, kept her composure, but her discomfort was visible, her smile no longer natural, her answers shorter, her eyes narrowing slightly with each new pointed remark. The cameras caught everything. This is the raw power of live television. Nothing can be edited, nothing can be softened, and every flicker of emotion is on display for the world to see. Julia's frustration wasn't explosive, it was restrained, which made it even more gripping. Viewers at home could feel her struggle to remain polite while being cornered into a conversation she clearly didn't want to have. Joy, on the other hand, seemed undeterred, leaning into her role as provocateur. The contrast between Julia's quiet restraint and Joy's bold persistence created a dramatic tension that no producer could have planned. The turning point arrived when Julia, after yet another interruption, finally broke her silence in a way that caught everyone off guard. Her words weren't shouted but carried a weight that silenced the room. "I didn't come here for this." That single sentence shifted the entire atmosphere. In a matter of seconds, what had been an uncomfortable interview transformed into must-see television. Julia then stood, gracefully but firmly, and made her way off the stage. The cameras stayed fixed, capturing every second of the stunned reaction. The audience gasped audibly, and the co-hosts exchanged panicked glances. Joy, momentarily at a loss for words, tried to recover, but the damage was already done. The live nature of the show meant there was no way to cut to commercial in time to soften the blow. Everyone watching, both in the studio and at home, witnessed the unscripted unraveling of an interview that was supposed to be routine. This moment of real-time drama didn't need shouting, insults, or chaos to be powerful. Its strength lay in the silence, the pause, and the decision to walk away rather than fight back. That choice turned Julia's exit into something iconic. Audiences were glued to their screens not because of what was said, but because of what wasn't, the unspoken boundaries crossed, the visible discomfort, and the split-second decision to leave instead of staying seated. The beauty and danger of live television lie in this unpredictability. Producers can plan every segment down to the second, but when human emotions collide in front of cameras, the outcome can change everything. Julia's walk-off was not just an awkward moment, it was a masterclass in how real-time tension can escalate into drama that dominates headlines. Within minutes, clips spread across social media, and what was meant to be a promotional appearance turned into one of the most talked-about live TV moments of the year. For viewers, this was compelling because it was authentic. There were no edits, no filters, no second takes, just the raw truth of two personalities clashing on national television. It reminded audiences that no matter how polished celebrities may seem, they are still human, and live TV has the power to reveal those cracks in real time. Julia Roberts' decision to walk off didn't just end an interview, it created a moment that will be replayed, analyzed, and remembered for years as an unforgettable example of on-air drama that no one saw coming. The moment Julia Roberts walked off The View was not confined to the studio. Within minutes, the internet turned it into one of the most viral conversations of the week. Clips of her exit circulated across social media platforms, dominating timelines, feeds, and trending pages. What had begun as an uncomfortable exchange between Julia and Joy Behar quickly snowballed into a cultural moment, dissected from every angle by fans, critics, and media outlets alike. The speed at which the incident spread highlighted how quickly live television drama can ripple out into the digital world, creating a storm that refuses to die down. On Twitter, hashtags connected to Julia Roberts and The View shot to the top of the trending list. Short video snippets of her saying, "I didn't come here for this," racked up millions of views within hours. Users debated what really pushed Julia over the edge, whether Joy had gone too far, and whether Julia was right to walk out rather than continue the exchange. Some framed Julia as a symbol of quiet dignity, applauding her decision not to engage in a back-and-forth she didn't want to be part of. Others accused her of being too sensitive, suggesting that she should have expected tough questions on a show known for stirring debate. The divide in opinion only fueled the conversation further, with each side amplifying the moment to prove their point. TikTok, a platform where short, viral clips thrive, played a huge role in spreading the incident. Edits of Julia's reaction, paired with dramatic music or humorous captions, went viral overnight. Some creators turned the walk-off into memes, while others analyzed it like a piece of theater, slowing down her expressions, reading into Joy's body language, and speculating about what might have been said during commercial breaks. For younger audiences who may not even watch The View, TikTok became their primary gateway to the drama. Julia's exit wasn't just a TV moment anymore, it had transformed into a piece of internet culture. Mainstream media outlets quickly picked up on the story. Headlines used words like explosive, shocking, and dramatic to describe the exchange, ensuring it grabbed attention even from people who had not seen the clip. Entertainment shows and morning news programs replayed the footage, sparking panel discussions of their own about celebrity boundaries, media responsibility, and Joy Behar's style of interviewing. Even late-night hosts chimed in, some making jokes about Julia's graceful but firm departure, others defending her right to walk away from a situation she found uncomfortable. The media buzz only made the clip more unavoidable, cementing it as the viral moment of the week. Fans of Julia Roberts, fiercely loyal and protective, rallied around her. Social media flooded with supportive posts praising her composure, calling her a class act for choosing dignity over confrontation. Many argued that she set an example by showing that it's okay to remove yourself from situations that cross personal boundaries. On the flip side, Joy Behar's defenders applauded her for doing what she always does, asking hard questions and pushing guests out of their comfort zones. The clash of fanbases became its own subplot, fueling further online engagement as people took sides. YouTube became another battleground, with reaction videos, commentary breakdowns, and live streams analyzing the drama in detail. Some creators focused on Julia's body language, pointing out the subtle shifts in her demeanor before she walked out. Others zeroed in on Joy, debating whether her questions were justified journalism or unnecessary provocation. The sheer volume of content ensured that anyone searching for Julia Roberts on YouTube was met with a flood of videos about her walk-off, each racking up views and extending the life of the story. Brands and marketers even jumped in on the buzz. Memes and ads referencing Julia's exit appeared online, proving how quickly a viral moment can seep into pop culture beyond the original incident. It became shorthand for knowing when to walk away from something, whether that was a bad date, a tough meeting, or an awkward conversation. Julia's decision was transformed into a metaphor, giving it a life that stretched far beyond the walls of the View studio. The widespread media and social buzz underscores just how hungry audiences are for authenticity. People crave moments that feel real, unplanned, and unscripted, and Julia provided exactly that. Her exit wasn't rehearsed or carefully managed, it was a genuine human reaction caught on live TV. That authenticity is why it resonated, why it went viral, and why it continues to spark conversation across every platform. In the end, Julia Roberts walking off The View became more than just an awkward celebrity interview. It was a live television event turned viral spectacle, dissected and debated in real time by millions. The wave of buzz that followed proves how quickly a single unscripted moment can dominate culture, shifting from TV screens to phone screens, from headlines to hashtags. What was meant to be a routine promotional spot instead became a pop culture flashpoint, showing once again the power of live drama to capture attention, ignite debate, and live on long after the cameras stop rolling.